the podcast with your host, Clint in Washington, and your co-host, DeAngelo Gillespie. Let's go.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of 2 Cent the Podcast. This is another episode of 2 Cent the Podcast. This is another episode of 2 Cent the Podcast and another episode of 2 Cent the Podcast. I'm going to have to repeat this several times because you guys missed an episode of 2 Cent the Podcast. We recorded for quite some time, but didn't actually hit the record button. And
I swear to God, I looked over there and I was like, we should be about 30 minutes.
Hey, this is the redo of the redo.
Groundhog's Day.
Yeah, but this time we hit the record button and then we are official. We are 59 seconds into this thing.
That was so good.
Hey, once again, I am Uncle Clint, which I said in the previous recording that we didn't record. And like I said in the previous recording, I'm still here with my co-host, DeAngelo Gillespie, Mr. Single out here in the streets, like I said before, and I'll say it again. We're going to have to really either adjust what I'm drinking or...
Oh, Clint. God, I looked over there to make sure. I was like, okay, we should be about 30
You know what? Listen, for a sidekick, you're not that good. Because you should have caught this. We was like about 30, 35 minutes.
I call myself relaxing and letting the podcast come to me. A good player just lets the game come to him. Baby, I don't got to be the star every time. Sometimes it's about assists for me.
Yeah, but you know what? Your assist was off. You threw that ball. You threw it over the basket.
I just say, just give me the damn ball and get out the way.
All right, Kobe. This is, like I said, this is once again 2 Cent the Podcast. I am your host, Uncle Clint, and we are sitting here.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to start this off just like I did it before because I thought that was really great, and I don't want anybody to miss. Ladies and gentlemen,
definitely.
We are discussing gentrification in Portland.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
All right. And we are at a location on the street corner of Mason and Cleveland. All right. Now, I don't want you guys to come over here and start knocking on doors.
Please don't.
But you are more than welcome to stand on the sidewalk, take some pictures of the poster boards, because there is a wealth of knowledge.
Yep.
A few months ago, DeAngelo and I, we were discussing doing this podcast, but we're not from Portland, so how can we speak on something that we don't know about? Mm-hmm. And this just dropped in our laps. We was leaving from getting something to eat, and I went down the wrong street and then the wrong street again. I came up this street and we saw this house, and we saw something that mentioned gentrification. And, I told DeAngelo, hey, take some pictures. And we've taken pictures out the window of my truck. And I didn't think it was just going to have a good feel. So I was like, hey, you get out, take some pictures. I'm going to make the block just in case he got arrested. He got arrested for trespassing or, got shot. I wouldn't be there to witness anything. He's insured by 2 Cent the Podcast, so we would have got our money back for him. But, I was like, hey, take some pictures. So by the time I made the block, I come back around, and he is talking with the owner of the property, and she's just giving some very insightful information, some history.
She said, come on in. You can take you can take the pictures, because I was outside the gate. And she was like, oh, okay.
Man, we just walked into a house of knowledge.
Yeah.
Every wall is covered with something that you can learn. And I'm not just talking about those general pictures, or you might find of Malcolm X or Martin Luther King or, some African art. This is education.
Oh, we got flow charts in here, man.
When I tell you it's education. So she runs and sponsors the Black Educational Achievement Movement. And when you walk in here, this is not just a home where you sleep. This is not a place where you just eat. This is a place where your mind is going to grow, and it's going to be fertilized with a lot of knowledge. And we're going to get to know our guest, Noni. She's the owner of the property. Mm-hmm. But sitting next to her left-hand side, is Cleo. We just had a long conversation with Cleo that you guys missed.
It wasn't important.
And it's amazing how things come together. Like I said, we wanted to do this podcast, and we were just like, we debated back and forth. Like, we don't know nothing about gentrification. We're just hearing from our friends. We're hearing from people who lived here, but we were dealing with people who were very emotional about the subject.
Yeah, and I mean, and rightfully so, so. But we're not from here, so I'm only looking at it from a, I guess a logical and analytical point of view. I'm not looking at it like I don't have any emotion. I have nothing tied to this. When you speak to me about it, I'm only looking at. You want to tell me about unfair housing practices? You want to tell me about what balloon payments? What you want to talk about? Predatory lending. Like that's how my mind clicks when we're talking about home ownership or communities.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But to speak to somebody who was there and who lived it, you can tell me, well, this is the part you didn't see.
But
you know what I'm saying?
Ain't it happening in your neighborhood?
No, not like this. Well, you got. I'm from.
Not yet.
Where? Which part? When you say my neighborhood, you mean in Atlanta or Beaverton? No. You know what? I guess maybe it is happening in places in Georgia, but not the way it happened here. Out here, it was almost of a you've been sold on a bill of goods, and like the more and more I read about gentrification here, these people were supposed to come back. They thought there was something here.
Wait. Before we go into that,
let's not go.
Before we get there, because we gonna have Noni bring us there.
Look,
Okay.
when the bike lanes come, watch out. They ain't coming for you.
Okay, so listen.
That's all I know.
What? I ain't
So
never heard
Noni
that.
has on her house, and it's at Stolen Black Hood, right? It says at Stolen Black Hood, and you watched. Redlining, benign neglect, respectability politics, 50-year plan, ethnic cleansing, gentrification, and white supremacy. So when you pass by, that's the knowledge and information you're going to get. So before we get to Noni, we're going to get to our other guest, Cleo. So since I messed this up, I'm kind of bring Cleo a little bit ahead of his story. So Cleo has a grandmother, or had a grandmother, and her son, right, your dad,
Yep.
purchased a property. This property was a 7-unit property, and it had a little small house in the back, which that was to service the 7-unit property. The city of Portland did things that would prevent this family from acquiring wealth through that 7-unit property. So now the 7-unit property, it had things like boarded up windows. It had a crack in the foundation, some things that needed to be fixed. And his family had the talent and the ability to draw out plans. His uncle was a structural engineer, and everyone in the family had the ability to refurbish this property. All right? Most people know about redlining. I'm going to let my co-host give us a definition of redlining.
I want to go. Let Cleo
No.
talk
I
about
need you to give me a definition of
both
redlining.
talk about it.
Yeah.
You go ahead and
Okay, so redlining. Redlining is what they do to a group of people,
Black community.
the Black community, to kind of keep us. I don't know. I don't even know if it's to keep us in. I think it's to keep us out.
To devalue, to devalue our properties.
Yeah. So they devalue
Or
the
the
property.
areas that we live
They do predatory lending. They actually help depreciate where you are.
Okay, so
by
wait,
simply not you can't. They don't even give you an opportunity to get out, like because and they do this with a lot of things, like they'll do something with the interest rate. So maybe they'll give you a balloon payment at the end, or like there's so many different ways they can keep you in this shit.
So hold on before you go too far, because I think you're drifting past the redlining.
Right.
So go ahead, Cleo, give us the definition of redlining.
well, like he's saying, either high interest rates, balloon payments, no loan at all, no insurance, and any of this.
And they'll stop your funding, any kind of services that you could have got to that kind of community. They'll stop that shit for you.
They'll stop the funding of those who service you.
Yes. So now there's no incentive for them to come and handle these things. So your property value has to decrease.
Okay, so now we got I'm sorry, no, I don't mean to cut you off.
I'm
But
sorry.
now we
because
got
you guys missed one part.
Go
The
ahead.
redlining. It's a red line. It really is.
Okay,
it's,
yeah.
it's a red line that they draw around the community.
Border.
Yeah, it's a border. And like I was in a meeting one time, and this woman.
Yeah, get right on your mic.
The woman looked at me and she said, "I didn't know. Well, I always seen that red line, but I didn't think they meant it that they could stop people from moving somewhere."
Well, they won't say they're stopping you. What they'll do is when you apply, they'll reference that, and then they just won't honor. They won't grant the loan.
Well. So I'll kind of clear up what you're saying. Not you, as in us as black people. What they'll do is any other people willing to move in or invest in those properties, they will point out that within this red line that you're not going to get the value of your property that you should get. Absolutely. Or that it's not worth you even moving into that area because they want to keep certain people into certain areas. Mm-hmm. Now we got redlining, but you educated me and maybe my co-host already knew he's the smartest tool in the shed.
I don't know.
But you educated us on blight. And so being blighted it was an agricultural term that can be used towards, let's say, the black community. Mm-hmm. The black community or a black housing area could be a blight on, let's say, the state of Oregon. Mm-hmm. Or, it's a blight on the city of Portland, that black community. Right. Now, how was your family's property considered a blight on the city of Portland or the area that your property was in?
So the whole area was blighted.
Okay.
Right?
Educate me, brother. I need some education.
Well, through redlining, we didn't have any funds.
Okay.
So you had a lot of abandoned buildings, boarded up buildings. But this property in particular had, plywood over the windows.
Okay.
And also a crack in the foundation. We were purchasing this from another black family.
Okay.
And so like I was saying before, black folks, black families kept because it was so difficult to get access to purchasing property that black folks sought out other black folks. And plus, we talking about, so this is the 80s, but, Portland has a long history, involved in segregation. So
right.
That segregation actually strengthened black businesses and the black community as a whole. So we're coming out of, this is the tail end of the civil rights movement. This is what, 20 years later,
right?
Generation later. So black folks still have these practices, and because the city and the municipalities are still, doing their systematic racist practices. Mm-hmm. So we go ahead and purchase this from a black family, and so we purchased it around $20,000.
Okay.
With the estimation of putting 15 G's back into it.
Right.
So we're looking at about $35,000. And so my uncle's a civil engineer. He draws up the plans and everything, how to, we're going to go about what it takes to handle the crack and the foundation and everything. But the building it was red tagged.
Okay, what does that mean?
And so red tag is similar to eminent domain, but for a structure, right? Mm-hmm. So either you have to fix the building or it has to be torn down. But it's very difficult to get your building out of a red tag situation.
So repairing the structural damage wouldn't have been enough? Or what do you think? I'm asking.
Yeah, the goal is to repair the structural damage. But we were denied, once we applied for the permits, we were denied a permit.
Okay.
So
they had a remedy for you.
So, yeah, it was either get a $50,000 bond or pay for a contractor to do the work.
Okay.
And paying a contractor was going to be more than $50,000. Like I was saying earlier, my father was like, well, we don't have $50,000 that we're just going to let the city hold and not incur interest on it.
No, I get it. Yeah.
Okay.
So what came of that?
So,
You said it was it was red tag.
it was red tag.
Yeah. So
And so, and like I'm saying, like once you once you get it red tagged, you pretty much you ain't getting it out, So my grandmother fought it actually. So she got an attorney and really fought it and ended up took it all the way up to the city council. So just like in that video,
So just to give our audience what video we're talking about, what's the name of the video and where can we find it?
it's root shock.
And YouTube, right?
You can Google it.
Okay. Root shock.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm. How long did she fight in court?
She fought for about 2 years.
Wow.
So she ended up going to city council and letting the city council know that so both of those structures were red tagged.
Yeah.
The 7-unit apartment building in the front and the little servant quarters in the back. And so so this is how my grandparents made a living, was buying properties and renting them out.
Okay.
And so she said, if you demolish that, then the properties are no good for me.
Yeah.
I can't use them.
Yeah.
And so the city council decided, they said, well, you can keep the little house in the back,
Mhm.
but the 7 units got to go. Now, what's funny to me, I was probably about 9 or 10 at the time. Yeah, maybe. But what's funny, even in the photographs, it'll show you that the little house in the back, by looks, was in worse condition than the apartment building.
Yeah.
And the apartment building, I mean, if you've seen the photos, was cool.
Yeah.
And what my dad also brought to my attention, that the damage done to the little house in the back was done by the city.
Mhm.
So the city tore that house up. So anyhow, they said, well, you can keep the you can keep the little house, and then the structure got to go. So so another thing, a point in this story would be that she asked that she could take it down herself. And so,
Wow.
because if when the city does it, they're gonna charge you,
Right.
and the city gonna bring a dozer through.
Oh, you gonna ask me to damn take my building down? Wait, you gonna take my building from me and
It
charge
has
me to
go,
tear this?
and then you get charged to take it down.
That's like me towing your car and then flattening the tires for free on my way out. That's crazy.
So, so the city council say, okay, yeah.
So they said it was okay for her to tear it down herself.
Yeah, so back then, black folks, I don't know, you folks is familiar with like scrapping metal and stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so back then, black folks, it wasn't called scrapping; it was called salvaging.
Mhm.
So black folks used to scrap wood or salvage wood.
Yeah.
So you take a building down and you use it somewhere else.
Yeah.
So my grandmother got folks to salvage the building. When they got the second story off, they started from the top. When they got that second story off, the city come flag us, put in a stop work order. Boom, can't do no more work. City come a couple days later, a couple days to a week later, and doze it. Right?
So they don't even
on what
want
grounds?
you scrapping.
On what
Well,
grounds.
but like, well, you said they gave her permission to do it, and then once we got to the second level, you came through with the dozer. So, what made you want to expedite the process? We're not going fast enough. I know it.
What was their reasoning?
Yeah,
for it?
I know where you're going. You're saying they just trying to stop us from getting
I don't know what
getting
the
some
reason-
money.
Any money. That's
Yeah,
what it
yeah. I
sounds
mean,
like.
I know where you're going
I
with
don't
it.
know
I
what the
was just,
reasoning-
I was just trying to figure out what are they gonna like cover it in, because everybody, you might have
You gotta have an excuse.
Yeah, you're gonna have an agenda, but shit, I'm gonna come here and I want to take your coat, but what I'm gonna tell you is I don't got one. I'm gonna go. I want to go to your car to get you some. What I'm saying?
It's like, if I'm gonna come in here and take your coat, but could you look that way real quick?
Yeah, so I just thought maybe they had
like,
said something.
what's the sneakiness? What was it anything that they said like, hey, you got to stop work?
Like it's not safe.
And then
It could have been. I mean, the only logical thing that I could really think of, and looking back and looking at the documents, it would have had to been the time.
Okay. Yeah.
The time of taking it down, or the time in
The allocated time that you had.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Wow, that's deep. You
so anyhow, they doze it and charge us for it.
That's crazy. Now, you remember what the price was?
I don't know. I think it was, I don't know, $5,000 or $6,000. I don't remember.
wow.
That's crazy. So now, that's the beginning of probably what we know as gentrification. The start of it, or was it something else? Or is gentrification the easy part?
I don't know if I
Or
would
is
say
that
that's
where
easy.
it starts at? It's, the eminent domain, the taking of your property,
Urban renewal.
or is it something more sinister? Is it, in my mind, looking at the documentary, listening to you, was it something more sinister? Was it something more that we got to prevent you from catching up to us?
I mean, yeah, that's what it is.
Okay. Okay,
Oh, wait.
I don't know. I mean, I'd rather jump to that, yeah.
Ladies and gents, are we suggesting that the state of Portland is interested in stopping black people from building generational wealth? Because it sounds like that's what you guys are
I think it's the
alluding
United-
to.
I think it's the United States of America. But look.
Don't put it on your city. I feel you.
Don't put it on the U.S.
I said, don't put it on your city. Okay, I get it.
Oh,
I get it.
I think
It's
we
the
got
whole-
I
it's the
think
whole
we got an
system.
American sponsor it too. It can't beat up the whole America, can we?
Well,
It's all the same.
well, we damn sure can't beat up
It-
Portland. I love y'all,
It's
Portland.
it's the whole infrastructure.
Okay, explain that.
let me,
real quick.
well, but let
I'm
me
gonna take a drink.
let me share this about the property.
Okay.
So this property is pretty significant and important to me.
Okay.
You
Go,
need
go.
me to move?
No.
Oh, this property for me symbolizes, well, we just talking about the word trauma.
Right.
Okay, let me use that term, brother.
Whole different conversation, but
It symbolizes the trauma that the cities in America, the infrastructure that the cities of America has put black folks through.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so this is what's significant. What this property has seen redlining, blight,
Tagging.
red tagging.
Yeah.
And then it also seen the civil
Civil disobedience.
no,
No.
it's civil
No,
forfeiture.
Civil forfeiture.
What is that?
Forfeiture.
No, I heard you. Yeah, I heard you.
Hmm?
What is it?
I'm trying to figure, but even something like that for safety.
No, so
But yeah, okay. So anytime you talk about forfeiture, like these things, they do own to someone. It's normally happening when the homeowner or the owner is somehow negligent in some form of making sure that this structure is sound. So that's why I'm asking Cleo when Cleo says civil forfeiture, like on what grounds?
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't. I mean, I don't want us to get into a podcast where we acting like this shit is just some strong arm robbery. Because it is, but it's not, because everything is cloaked. Everything. It's like everything comes in as this is what we're gonna say. It really don't matter what the sleight of hand is, what we doing on the back end. That's why I'm asking him on what grounds.
Okay.
Do you get what I'm saying, Cleo?
Again, I'm glad you asked.
Okay.
I'm glad you asked. So, on the grounds that, so my grandmother fought that roughly between 1982 to about 1984.
Okay.
By 1985, 1986, the little house is repaired and it's a rental.
Oh, okay.
Now we're in a new time.
Mhm.
1985.
Oh.
1985 gave rise to craziness in
Yeah.
Portland.
I was just gonna say, y'all don't know what happened in 1985. That's why that's why ain't nobody caught it yet.
Really, 1985 got real crazy, but it was 1987 that. So between 1985 and 1987, when gangs and drugs hit bad.
Yeah. Oh, I knew where you were.
That's when the civil forfeiture laws really came into play.
Mm-hmm.
And what was called under these crime ordinances with called crime properties.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so
that's where I was getting to it, because I didn't want to say it for you. When you said civil forfeiture, and now that Cleo don't let the cat out the bag. For civil forfeiture, listeners, you got to be suspected of a crime. That means, what y'all doing in there? What y'all doing in that house? Y'all selling dope in there? Well, we not sure if you selling dope, but we think you selling dope. And since we think you selling dope, let's go.
Own it.
Let's go.
You own it, brother.
Okay.
So with the civil forfeiture, all you have to do is be suspected.
Mm-hmm. People don't know the game.
And they can take your property.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't have to be convicted.
No, you might be selling dope in there. That's enough. We can't have that around the kids, y'all. Y'all know that.
Oh,
So what happened? I think this was around 1990.
Yeah.
Right. My grandmother gets a letter from the county saying that same property, was, she had a court case, like that this was to be, forfeiture, that it was called an intergovernmental agreement.
Yeah, and she don't even got to stay there.
The sheriff, the city,
County,
the county, they all came together to take what was considered crime properties.
Mm-hmm. And they can take the stuff inside of it, because we can say you bought the TV, you bought this sofa, you bought all this stuff with dope money.
Is taken.
Exactly. You bought all this
in an auction.
Exactly. You bought all this with dope money.
Okay, so wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Ooh.
Hold on. They've been coming after this woman since the 80s. We into the 90s. We couldn't get the property in the 80s.
That's not in the video.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
We couldn't get the property in the 80s.
Oh, we just giving game now.
So now
Yeah,
we turn around and your property is involved in some illegal activities, whatever they are. You're renting it out.
Okay, so we're renting it out.
It ain't gotta be true.
She gets the summons from the county, and it said that so many kilos of cocaine was found on the premise.
Oh wow.
Ooh.
Okay. And she has to answer this summons, I suppose.
You got to be kidding me. She didn't live there.
No.
Any of her relatives live there?
No.
Did they prove the case?
Well, so no, my grandmother was a fighter, so she, fought it. But so another little caveat that I want y'all to know: the first drug courts were started here.
Mm-hmm.
So you got the first drug courts here, and you got these civil forfeitures that you don't even have to. They didn't really even have to take it to court.
Mm-hmm.
She got her attorney and pressed this. So
Black women, I love them.
about a year and a half, 2 years later, they dropped the case. So
no, hold on. Before we, so she had the means to get a lawyer. I'm gonna say this. A friend of mine said this to me before. Black folks, stop whatever you purchasing. That's irrelevant, minute, minuscule, whatever you want to call it. Keep you some money for a lawyer. I had a friend. I used to think it was a waste of money for him to spend the money to fight a traffic ticket that his kids had gotten. It's like, why? Just pay it. Go do the little class, whatever. And I found when I had to fight a traffic ticket, and I actually went through my lawyer to fight a traffic ticket, it was almost like I had never gotten a traffic ticket. When you put a lawyer in front of lawyers, you're likely to get the results that you're looking for versus you're just applying or complying to what they want you to do. Just pay the fines. I didn't have to pay a fine. I didn't have to answer to it. I actually took a picture of the ticket, sent it to a lawyer, and his response, you're good.
Right.
Get you a lawyer, folks. So you know what? Get you a lawyer.
Like that.
But and back then, those days, it was different though.
Yeah.
Like people knew people then. So it wasn't it ain't like how it is today where people knew lawyers.
Yeah, we was in the community.
We had
together.
folks.
So was she able to ultimately keep the house? I know the charges were dropped. I just
Yes.
Okay. So it's still in the family?
Yes, still in the family. So
Okay.
that particular property is under my care. So
Okay.
Now, what about the 7-unit property?
No,
Yeah,
that was
got
bull.
dozed.
Yeah, that was dope.
That got dozed.
Just dozed.
Yep.
The land still belongs to you though, yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
In the little house in the back.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So now I'm gonna kind of jump forward. Then we gonna have to get to Noni.
And they can watch the video,
Right.
if they want to know.
Yeah, you know what? There's a upside to this story. And guess what? I'm not gonna tell you. You're gonna have to watch the video. What's the name of the video again?
Root shocked.
Root Shocked.
Yeah.
Go find it. Google it. There's a part of it that I'm not gonna tell you about. Well, you know what? I'm gonna give you a hint so you look for it. There's a purchase of a home. And I'm gonna leave it there.
Big home.
There's a purchase of a home. And if you think you understand what I'm saying and you come to the conclusion, oh, it must have been this, you're going to be wrong. Go watch it. You're going to be shocked at this man here. You're going to be shocked at who he is because, I met him face to face for the first time today. Never spoke to him, but I know I wanted to speak to him, have him on the podcast, and I felt like a celebrity walked in the room. I've seen this guy. I've watched his work. Go watch it because the things that you think you can't and shouldn't fight for, he's going to show you that you should fight for it because he was fighting for something that happened in the 80s. We're not talking about the 50s and 60s. We're talking about modern time, modern racism. And if you don't understand what I'm talking about, go watch
Root Shock.
Root Shock. All right. And if you guys can't find it, I'm gonna task my co-host as I normally do with. He's gonna put the link to watch it.
I can do that.
So I attribute Cleo's story to black folks being bamboozled out of their properties, and then it became a thing of in the 90s. In the 80s and 90s.
I was trying to see if you were going to try to marry that to gentrification.
No, here it comes.
I don't.
No. Hold on.
I don't think we should, but I'm gonna let you do it. I just think they
hold on.
What?
I don't know if that's gentrification how that happened. I think that's more unfair housing practices. Unless you want to put gentrification under that umbrella.
No, it's not under the umbrella.
I'm asking Cleo.
No, it's not an umbrella. It's a plot. It's a plan. Because when you want to take,
you want to put it under the umbrella of systemic racism.
No, it's just plain and simple.
I can do that, but I don't know if I can put it under gentrification.
It's plain and simple. If it's not gentrification, it's not anything else.
Can we ask him?
No, I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna correct you and why. When you want to gentrify something, you have to first get everybody out of the way.
I don't think they ever thought they could really get that. Maybe they did. They think they could get the property from them.
Right.
Maybe they did. But
The first thing they did, they came up with ridiculous rules.
I agree.
To be able to take away that structure. So
I
the
agree.
first thing is, I can't let you catch up with me. I can't let you acquire the same wealth that I have. So your 7-unit rental property that you can possibly gain.
I was gonna say, even if I'm willing to
Right.
accept
But
the
see,
agreement,
I'll let you continue
why let me do anything? Why not just say it's all unfit and make me bulldoze all of it?
because you know what? You can't be oblivious with what you're doing. You can't be obvious. I'm sorry. You can't be obvious with what
But
you're
Cleo
doing.
said itself that the other one had more structural damage than the
Right.
damn apartment.
Exactly. But you can't be obvious in what you're doing.
Yeah, but Clint, if
And-
we really
and
trying
one-
to,
and
if we
one
really
more-
trying to
one more
screw somebody
thing.
over, let's just take it all.
No, you
But
can't.
you can't.
I'll tell you why.
What's up?
I'll tell you why.
All right, I'm just,
You can't screw everyone over, especially all at once.
Mm-hmm.
What that does is it drives people underground. You never want to, when you're oppressing people, you never want to drive them underground.
Mm-hmm.
Once you drive them underground, your whole system is going to collapse. So you have to create variances
okay.
of degrees of exploitation and oppression. So it doesn't always hit you at the same time, and it stops you from going underground. Once you drive the people underground, as you see what happened with coronavirus and the Black Lives Matter movement with the protests, when you drive people, so folks weren't underground. They were just in the homes with nothing to do.
Yeah.
Nothing to distract them. Driving people underground, they're focused now.
I get
And
what
they're
you're saying.
angry.
I get what you're
And they
saying.
know, and there's an energy in that.
You saying don't completely
You
crush
can't.
it.
That's why we have these different systems. Like you familiar with like meritus manumissions?
No.
Where so it's a system of oppression, but there's different levels. Okay, let's just say like in slavery.
Okay.
Well, you have your homie whip him instead of just the master whipping him.
Willie
Okay.
Lynch.
And then one whooping is harder than another whooping. And so your mind, you say, well, damn, at least I didn't get my ass whooped like that. Like,
Yeah, I get
or
what you're saying.
damn, I did. So
Yeah.
you're accepting butt whoopings,
Yeah.
but you just don't want one like how he got.
Okay.
Right.
So that's the different levels. And then there's rewards for snitching,
Mhm.
rewards for division, all these things. So but
There's
if-
awards for accepting me, oppressing you,
Well,
because my oppression
Yeah.
of you is not as bad as it was for
if
him.
Well-
if you take it
Yeah.
all and everybody's hurt and there's no levels of it, because you can
Yeah.
start arguments with the levels.
Yeah.
What you talking about? That whooping was like a present.
Yeah.
You got whooped with a feather. You get what I mean? So
Yeah.
it keeps
Well,
you
yeah,
discombobulated.
the only reason why I was why I said I didn't know if I would put it under the umbrella of gentrification, because I felt like gentrification was something to where we want to eliminate it all under the guise of starting anew and renovation. And when you said you got to keep it, it triggered in my mind. Well, I don't know if we can correlate the two. Do you get what I'm saying? Because it's still you still own it. It's still in the family. So when I think about gentrification, I think of let's get all of this out so that we don't have to remember this.
No, but we weren't talking about gentrification.
Well, that's what I said. I know-
You were saying why not take it all?
Well, I was saying
At
why not?
once.
I was saying why not take it all?
Saying
If
you
that
can't
if
sting people like that, you get a rebellion.
Right.
You get an uprising.
Okay.
So, you have to do it in levels,
Mhm.
right? And you have to do it in stages. One of the things about a young person just told us today, what was her name?
The one that works with me?
No, the 16-year-old.
Jalen.
Jalen. Hey, that's another Jalen in our family now. We got another Jalen in the family. Let me tell you,
Coming
she
after y'all.
is spot on, smart as a whip.
She's bright.
But
She's bright.
Jalen
Really.
said something to us. She said, you know what? Your generation want it now. You're not willing to play the long game. And that's what white people do. They play the long game. Oppressive white people, they play the long game. They understand that if I stop you from gaining wealth, what I'm actually doing is I'm stopping you from helping anyone that looks like you gain wealth.
I don't believe black people have the luxury to play the long game sometimes.
So look, I would caveat that. Look, so it is not that we don't play the long game; it's that we're put in situations of desperation.
Okay.
Exactly.
So they're playing a game of desperation, put you in desperate situations to where the long game, it doesn't make sense for today.
It's exactly why we take part in predatory lending. It's not that we can't read.
Right.
It's not that we can't read. It's not that we don't want home ownership. We don't want places for our children. It is we take the opportunity when the opportunity it presents itself, and people don't understand that game of predatory lending. People don't understand the game, and we was talking about that shit earlier about and even Cleo spoke to it. It's ignorance, and that's not an insult. People, ignorance just means you do not know and you are unaware.
So,
you know what I'm
so before we go any further, we keep doing this.
Shit,
I keep trying to bring Noni in,
my bad, okay.
and we keep bypassing Noni. We're 41 minutes into this, and normally we run about an hour.
Okay.
So,
But I can talk fast.
No, hey, first of all, no, I mean.
So no, because what I
We
want to
expect you
capture,
to go.
what I want to capture with and kind of bring us to, not necessarily a conclusion, but still opening the doors for further dialogue. So Noni, you in this immaculate place of education, and you got to walk in here because it's set up for a place of education. This is not a living room where you're supposed to relax and watch TV. It's got
Get a book,
it's got the big
game,
TV
something.
for the Zoom. When we came in, she had the Zoom going, when she invited us in. And all these educators was talking while she was talking to us. She was multitasking. She has an assistant that comes in that does work. This is not Noni sleeps here, but she also educates and teaches.
It look like the back room of a church.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know how you go in the back room of the church and you see they've been teaching Bible study, like, oh my God.
So Noni, this was your mom's house.
Right. It was. I've been in this house since 1963.
Okay.
My parents bought this home from another black owner who had it on contract from a Jewish person, right?
Right.
And the house was $10,000.
Wow.
And the payment was $85. I watched my dad work 3 jobs until he died of heart failure. To make sure, I'm the youngest of my family. I have 3 older brothers, and I watched him work his fingers literally to the bone until he died, making these $85 payments, right? He was born in 1912, came out of Clarksdale, Mississippi, couldn't read, couldn't write. So, came out here to work on the railroad, and then drove taxi and managed apartments.
So y'all keep complaining about your rent if you want to.
Look, do you hear
come
me?
on.
Do you hear me? $85, and I'll never forget the day that my mom made that last $85 payment, and how proud. I mean, so I think when people, a couple years ago, my son, who's now in Texas, came back home, and I think this was right before my mom died, and he said, "Mom, why are you still there?" He said, "This ain't our neighborhood no more." He said, "I hate this place. I'm never coming back."
Stop. I'm not gonna let you go no further. When you say it's not your neighborhood anymore, elaborate on that.
Oh my goodness. Right. So, I was part of that whole gentrification. So when the property value went down, when everything started happening, when crack hit our neighborhood, that's why I have a hard time sometimes when people talk about gentrification and we just walked away from our property or this happened or that happened. No, it was a huge systemic thing, and it was crack. It was other things that came into our community that just decimated it, right? Because you got to remember, when this urban renewal and Emmanuel Hospital and all that stuff was happening in the eyes of, making things better. So as they were bulldozing homes and displacing hundreds of families, the red line was still around the community. So it wasn't like you could go nowhere else, right? So it just became a pressure cooker. So you tear down that block, those families are now moving in closer with the rest of us, right? So it was so many things that were happening at one time, and then crack fell in, and
The gang violence.
Yeah, gang violence, crack, and then half of our community fed for self-preservation because they couldn't see their families. I didn't know I was poor. I had a house. We had a truck. We had a station wagon, a boat. Some of my pictures. See that picture up there that we're in my home, and I have some of my ancestors that I have on my wall. Up there is my great-great-grandmother, but over here to the right is my daddy and my grandfather. We fished on the Willamette River out there, right?
Okay.
And so my family's been in Portland since 1903.
Okay.
1903. So it just became a pressure cooker. And then you have all these things that are happening at one time. We came from good families, right? Like my dad worked, my mom stayed at home, took care of the kids. Like I didn't know we were poor. And so when all this stuff happened, I had one brother leave. He said it was for self-preservation. He said my little sister was losing her mind. My other brother was going to jail. And then even that, they said we didn't want to go to jail. We didn't want to steal cars. We didn't want to do this. We couldn't get no jobs. We couldn't get anything. I have the Black Panther 10-point platform on my home. One, because it went up when George Floyd died, but also because my brother was a Black Panther here.
Okay.
Right. And he would, I believe we had decent parents. We went to church every Sunday. Like we had some morals and some values, right? There weren't no damn opportunities here. Let's go
Right.
here. Right. So
About what year and time period was that?
So that was like 60, because I got to remember, I got bussed right around that time too. So then you have that like whole integration thing, right?
Right.
Which was even more crazy as our neighborhoods were changing and pulling apart. I remember I was a really smart student, right? A very bright, straight A student. And then one year they said, like, you're going to a new school next year. And I was like, oh, okay. Oh my God. We got to the school, our neighborhood school. There was like 15 buses out there.
Mm-hmm.
And you go there and you go there. And the neighbor across the street went to West Hills. I went across the river. And it broke our community got busted up by so many things that were happening at one time. And it was hard to keep track. And all of us kids would come home and fight with each other because you think you better than me because you go to that white school over there and you think this. So now you got a community where kids are fighting, right? And it was so many things. So I moved away because, right? So I'm going to kind of push the story on, like in the early 70s, I say. My son was born in 78. I was pregnant. Okay, so right around 80s, I came into quite a bit of money, and I wanted to buy a home because I wanted to live by my mom. I wanted to stay in the community that I was raised in. I had $10,000. $10,000. Mm-hmm. Now, mind you, I told you they bought this house with $10,000.
Right.
I had $10,000, and I could not buy a house in this neighborhood. Me and my husband tried. They weren't lending money. They said it was a high-risk lend. Mm-hmm. So we couldn't buy a home. So we ended up moving out in Southeast Portland, which is where I raised our 4 sons, right? And that's one of the things that happens when you're in this Oregon is such an anti-black state, right? It's almost like you're kind of black and you don't want to be too black because like you won't have no friends and all of that. I mean, Cleo's laughing at me, but it was really true. It's like, oh my goodness. And so, right, so I take my sons out there to Southeast Portland and they're like, Mom, there are no black kids out here. And I was like, yes, they are. They just didn't come to school today. Well, I did that for about 2 weeks. Like, there really was no black kids out there. So, so it is. I bought into that lie that it's better over there, right? And so I left my community.
Okay.
And other people left our community. And it breaks my heart. And it wasn't until my mother was getting a little older that I thought I better go back home and take care of my mom, right? Okay. And by this time, the gentrification had really started to happen. And there were so many Caucasians over here. And Portland, I love Oregon. I'm a camper. I love to be in the woods, hug trees, all that, fish, do all that. But it can be a very toxic place and a very lonely place to be black here.
It's you say that, and when we were kind of looking in and researching and looking and reading up on things about Portland. So in our environment, we do a lot of social media. We interact with people in Black Portland, and a lot of people say, where are the Black people at? Mm-hmm. And we have gone. I don't know if we can say we've gone to the extreme measures to try to assemble Black folks.
I think we have. I don't know about you. I'm sorry. I'll take that back. I think I have.
I'm going to say this. I think we put measures in place and in hopes that Black people would follow.
Mm-hmm. I can only make you aware. I can only send out a beacon.
Right.
I can't make you show up.
But when I look at it, I always look at it like this: how many avenues did we really use to get Black folks together? Because that's the sentiment is, I'm leaving Oregon because there's no Black people. Mm-hmm. But there has been times where we've put together events and people come out in droves, and it's like, I didn't know there's that many Black people here. And then there's a lot of times where people don't support the events because we're transplants.
There you go.
Yeah.
We're not from here. But there are people, I he hates when I say this, but we got, we got the Prince of Portland, Adrian Wright, who's trying to make people aware of what's going on in the Black community, and he'll get the support until he invites the transplants in.
But you know what I want to, I want to ask Cleo a question after this, back to speaking on what Noni said. But even think about it like this. Cleo has seen our billboard. Now, however, whatever discussion he had when he seen it, like, and we laugh about it but you seen it though, didn't you? but you see, that is that,
and it was dope.
Yeah, but see, it's like, I feel like we would like to be plugged in. All we can do is do what we do, and all we can do is create spaces. We can create spaces for great things to happen. Mm-hmm. But if no one shows up for that greatness, then we can't be responsible for that. We have to, and all of us. When I say we, I'm not talking about me and Clint. I mean all of us. We have to continue to create the spaces that we want to see. And even Adrian had to check me on this. You can't be mad when they don't show up. Mm-hmm. Though I still don't agree with that. I want to be mad when you don't show up. I only want to be mad when you don't show up because you bitched about it. If Black people didn't say we have nowhere to go, then when I create a space and you don't show, we can't do both now. Mm-hmm. Now you can complain about us not having spaces, or the space creators can stop creating spaces. But what we don't get to do is both people continue to exist. Somebody got to die.
I don't want to keep going down that road. Okay.
Well,
hold on. I'm gonna say this: creating a space. People ask, "Where are the Black clubs?" And we'll post and say, "It's Mingle Lounge. Come to Mingle Lounge." And you know what I'll see that weekend? People posting being at a white-owned club who was sued for racism.
Man, don't start that.
And racial discrimination, and that's where you're going. Or you'll come over to Mingle Lounge, you'll hang for 2 or 3 minutes, and then you'll go over to the club that discriminates against you, but you're okay with that because you're on the hunt.
All right, we can't.
So you're on the hunt.
All right, stop, man. We can't make this podcast about where we go. Cleo, it's on you. Me and Clint, we going on our own personal tangents.
I gotta.
Let's go.
Well, I think it's your responsibility.
To do what? I'm listening.
Well, in that complaint that you have, right? And you're basically saying it's a two-way street. You can't do this and have this and so on and so forth. Okay. So I'm just gonna tell you. You're the responsible party in this.
Okay.
Not the folk that want to have it both ways.
But you do agree that they want to have it both ways, yes?
Oh, it's a fact, whether I agree or not, right?
Okay.
Mm-hmm. You're speaking facts. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying to you is now, if you're trying to figure this out, you got to be more like a scientist, right? You got to look at the psychosis. You got to understand the social situation and the politics going on, the dirty racist politics that are played in the psychology of the people.
But I felt like I was dealing with my own though. Am I not?
You talking about your own? There's racial politics involved. You talking about y'all talking about white clubs and black clubs and things of that nature. So I'm saying you got to figure it out and then go find the remedy or remedies plural and start applying to get the results that you're looking for.
Agreed.
I agree. It ain't to the people who want to complain. Mm-hmm. It's not a two-way street. It seems like it, but it ain't.
Okay, so before we go on that tangent, we gonna come back to that.
I want to ask him about gentrification.
No, you ain't finna ask about
I
that.
got.
You got us going everywhere.
No, Noni spoke about gentrification.
No.
Before me and you speak about gentrification, I want him to say what he got to say because once we start,
back to Noni.
Okay.
I'll just hit you up real quick. I ain't got nothing to say about gentrification.
Oh, that ain't true.
Listen, so Noni, we kind of bring us to where you were. Your parents bought the home.
Right.
You still have the home.
Got the home.
And we talked earlier about building generational wealth and not knowing what that was until, young folks really started talking about it. But, you got the home here and you watched the neighborhood change and you've seen gentrification.
At its finest.
When you look at, and this is the challenge I'm going to make. When you look at gentrification, can you view gentrification without viewing the lack of black presence in your community? Can you see gentrification in any other way without viewing the lack of black presence in your neighborhood? Yes or no?
I don't understand the question.
I don't either, but it would be no.
Without
viewing, without the lack of black people here, right?
Right.
So all the white people that moved in. Let me get this right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's.
I feel like you want to ask a pointed, direct question, but you want to ask it in a nice way, and I'd rather you just ask it in a mean way. I'd rather you just ask it in a mean way.
Because No. I'm following Cleo from earlier. I'm making the question sloppy.
No, that's it. No. I think I know what you want to ask, but you confusing the hell out of me too.
Right, but so what I think of gentrification or whatever the word is, and I'm sick of people saying that. Like, shit, we just got to figure out how to do the right doggone thing. I don't need you to be an ally. I don't need you to do that.
Is it gentrification if white people aren't involved? That's what he said.
Wait, okay, wait.
That's what he is.
Oh, is that what you asking?
Okay.
Well, goddamn, Cleo, I wish you would have got to that in a minute.
Hey, listen. I wanted to make the question sloppy.
Okay, hold on. So, are we talking about still revitalizing the neighborhood, guys?
Yeah,
and that's where I was going to draw you into revitalizing the neighborhood. And this is why
how you gonna revitalize?
Whoa.
We had this
That's
argument.
a good question because nobody will dare say we need white folks to revitalize our communities. This is good. This is a loaded question.
I like the loaded question.
This is a loaded question.
And
I like
it's sloppy. It's sloppy.
Very sloppy.
All right.
Well, not
but
really
this is
sloppy.
the question.
It was confusing.
Right. But you know what? I wanted to be
Not really that
confusing
sloppy.
because I want to open him up to say, do you mean this? I want you to say, do you mean that? Where are you going with this? And this is where I'm going.
They wouldn't call it gentrification. They'd call it some other bullshit.
So when I grew up in Compton, I grew up in an era where, man, we were killing each other. And not just 14, 15-year-olds killing 14, 15-year-olds. I remember a young boy, he was 2 years old, walking behind his mother, like little kid, your mother give you the cheese to carry in, and got the little bag on your arm, and he's walking behind his mother bringing in groceries, and he caught a bullet. And that little kid was hit in the head. And I swear to you, it seems like every kid, 2, 5, 6, and 7 years old, was catching bullet wounds to the head. And this is growing up in the 80s and 90s in Compton. And the most thing that I wish for is for it all to go away. I hate it. We couldn't catch the school bus to school. The school bus was like 3 or 4 blocks away, but it was in rival gang territory. So we had to walk. And I mean, I can't explain it from, out here to get people to understand. But imagine walking a total of about 10 blocks to get to school. Imagine every morning you have to meet up with a group of guys. You're not in a gang, but you have to be in a gang to keep you from being jumped and beat up by the gangs. Now, we're not a gang in a sense where we're killing and shooting people, but we're a gang of kids, high school kids, middle school
you're not
kids.
Banging.
Right, we're not gang banging. But in order to make it to school safely, we have to be in a group, be in numbers. And I can just remember, I wanted to stop. I wanted it to end. I wanted it to go away. I wanted to go away. And they said, we can revitalize this this neighborhood. I remember it was Kenneth Hahn. I think Kenneth Hahn, he was a politician. And he was like bringing in grocery stores, and this was supposed to fix it, bringing in jobs and everything else. And I couldn't wait for the gangs to be gone.
I just don't feel like people understand the opposite, the opposite side of what you're asking for, and that speaks to what we was talking about in that documentary. But
you know what? The thing about it is, people can say they don't understand the opposite side of what you're asking for until you live that. Until you walk outside of your front door.
How in the hell did it get there?
Because people,
always like that.
Because people don't understand business.
No. It's
They
not
don't.
about business.
It is business.
No, it's not. It's not business. We're talking about plain and simple gang violence and drug violence, and we can't jump to the business side of it.
Watch this. Do you want the neighborhood revitalized?
But that's not where we're.
That's not the question.
So hold on.
That's not the question.
So we want the gangs out.
No, that's not the question.
You say gangs.
But that's not the question.
So what's the question?
The question is this, right? When you get to a point where you're living in this environment and you want something better,
but
you want to increase the police?
There you go.
Stop.
There you go, right there.
Everybody keeps talking. So I get it. Cleo talks about that. Cleo, okay, so we're in 3 different generations right here, right? I'm on the other side of 60.
We're not going to count my co-host.
Yes,
he was born some other atmosphere.
But, I hear you. But what I think you guys keep
I couldn't stand
missing, Cleo also talks about that, right? Our neighborhoods weren't like that. How did they get like that?
Okay.
We didn't have no damn planes to go buy no dope.
Okay.
We covered that.
I knew you was.
I'm aware.
Okay,
of that.
listen,
So
man.
once it's there and all hell broke loose, yes, we wanted to stop. But it's how we stop it. They ain't bringing no money in for us to stop it. We know what we need.
Well, not only are they not bringing money in, they cutting the money supply off.
Right.
They're in control of
They're
it.
in control of everything. And how they start to fix it, and this is the one thing I hated about gentrification here, because this is the whitest city in the world. The policies and practices that our city puts into place, like pushes this work. So Portland made these neighborhood associations. I'll never forget when they came in, and we would go down the street to meet, to talk about the neighborhood, and white people wouldn't even drive their damn cars in here. They would park them down by the Lloyd Center and then catch other transportations. But that's neither.
You know what, y'all?
But I thought that.
No, we good.
Yeah, but then we would go, and it would be crazy. You act like we don't want good schools. You act like we don't want good grocery stores, or we don't want traffic stops, or all of that, and people driving 70 down the damn back streets. You act like we don't want that for our kids.
All right, let's have a good. Okay, I'll tell y'all what. Y'all ready? Are y'all ready to have a real conversation? Cause I'm ready to have a real one. Okay. No. No, good. Good. Everybody here. Let's have a real conversation. And when I say real conversation, we're gonna leave feelings out of this shit. We just gonna be real. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I want to say this. Listening to you elocute your point on gentrification, that was the best way I've heard it presented to me. Void of a bunch of damn emotion, just real facts. This is what happens. Now, let's talk about it. Fine, Black people, we don't got no boats, and I'm gonna play devil's advocate. I'm gonna tell y'all this before we even start this shit. You're right. We don't have any boats. And for our listeners, what Noni is alluding to is we didn't bring crack and we didn't flood our own communities with crack.
Right.
Okay.
Or guns.
Yeah, or guns, or any of those things that you need, any of those vices that you need to bring into the community.
Right.
Now, I'm gonna piss a few people off when I tell you that does not excuse our accountability for the things that we indulge in, but I'll let y'all tear me down on that in a second.
Okay, I can.
Now, crack is here, things are here. Now, my problem with a lot of this is we do not like our communities. You just said it. We want good grocery stores. We want people not abusing our neighborhoods. You just said you don't want 70 in the back roads. Right. You want good grocery stores. We don't want. I'm sorry, Cleo. We don't want blights in our neighborhood. We don't want vacant buildings. We don't want any of these things. Mm-hmm. Both of you guys understand that we play a role in that. Do y'all? Or do you? Yeah. Do we play a role in it? Yeah,
you know what?
I'm just asking.
So
no.
If you go ask the question, let
do
them
we
answer
play?
It.
I am.
Of course, we play a role in it.
Okay. What role do we play in it, Cleo? You next, Noni.
Really, it depends on what role we playing. That's how I'm gonna answer it.
It's our neighborhood.
There's multiple roles that we play in it.
Absolutely. It's
I couldn't
whoa.
name all the roles.
It's our neighborhood.
No, it's not.
Okay. The hell it ain't. They don't stay here. I am talking about pre-gentrification. I am talking about this is where fine. Let's all get on the same page. Okay. Where we at? We are pre-gentrification.
We live there, but we don't have all the authority. Right.
Okay.
Or the resources.
Authority.
We don't have the resources, but
you can't keep butting.
Well, Cleo is trying to.
You got a good point.
Cleo is trying to absolve the black community from.
No.
Good. Then good. Then let me know what belongs to us.
You can't hold us 100% responsible for what goes on in our neighborhood, and I tell you why. Okay. If a gang spray paints on a wall in Hillsborough,
shit is off the
listen.
By the end of the
it's
night.
a whole task force out there looking for those gangbangers.
Mm-hmm.
Clint.
No, listen. It's a whole task force. You know how I know? Because I know that task force.
So
no, listen. Let me finish.
It's our community.
No, it's not our community. No, it's not.
Hillsborough.
How do y'all absolve yourself from taking care of your damn community? Black people love to say they take care.
It's not our community.
How is it? We stay there. We live there.
No, we live there, and that's all we do. Because you know what? I have no control over whether the aquatic center or the boys and girls club is open. I cannot dictate that. You know who can dictate that?
If that's not open, we gotta sell dope.
No. But see, you're not listening. You're trying to find.
Listen to what you said.
No, that's not what I said.
So tell me how we not responsible.
Why we're not responsible? Because we don't own the resources in our community.
To do what?
I own a house. I don't own the resources to ensure that my young nephew has something to do other than join a gang.
Time out.
No.
We are responsible.
I want Clinton to tell me that if we don't have community centers, that his son got to do dope. Now go ahead.
No. But see, what you're trying to do.
But that's what you're saying.
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, give me the opportunity and watch me not do dope.
Right. I'm gonna hear what Cleo say. Hold on for a minute, because
I just don't want. Listen, y'all already know I'm on y'all's side. I just don't want us to reach out. I don't want us to reach out for shit just because it. Watch this. If we are all a sound mind and body, then we already know. If we, you might need to turn them up a little bit. If we are all sound. Oh, you know what? No, it might be the.
Is it? Okay, I can hear it better.
Yeah. Unsplit them. Unsplit them.
No,
it's fine.
If we are all sound mind and body, y'all, come on, let's just be real. If we all sound mind and body, then we know that we are still blessed with reasoning, man. We still got to make good decisions out here.
Brother, you're correct. It's just the way it's.
Yeah, I know it's the way I say it sometimes. Yeah, I understand. I say it. I don't say it as PC as I should sometimes.
It's we do hold responsibility.
And guess what? I am not saying that what people do flooding our black communities, we can go all the way to the goddamn crime bill and Reaganomics. We can do all of that. But I do not ever want us to put ourselves in the light of victim, because I get so goddamn tired of people putting us in a frame where they say, oh, y'all playing the victim. We're not playing the victim. The shit that happened to us is very real and it's very valid and it matters. However, if you are asking me, could we overcome it? Let me tell you something. If one makes it, then we all take a bow. We can all take a bow. If
that
one
sounds great.
I know it's idealistic, but it's still true.
It's a fact. So this is the thing. This is, and I'm kind of 50-50 on this. We don't bring guns into our communities.
Okay.
So we're not responsible for that. But we use guns in our community. We are responsible for that.
Right.
We didn't bring crack cocaine into our community, so don't hold us accountable for that.
That's what you said.
But we chose to use it and sell it. Hold us accountable for that.
Man, you on
so
the
what
line.
I'm saying is this. This is what I'm saying. If you don't use us as your guinea pigs, if you don't use us to fight your wars over in other countries, if you don't use us to make your governmental side money.
Let me jump to the brother's side though, real quick.
All right.
Because I think that what he's saying, which I agree with, and I agree a lot with what you're saying too, but it's the accountability.
That's all I'm saying.
So the accountability of, as a unified people,
if that's who we claim to be.
We have the ability, whether we've done it or not, we have the ability to make sure it don't come into our community, regardless of who's bringing it in.
Right. We do, but that's the thing about it. That's the fallacy.
I know it's hard. I know it's hard, man.
No. The fallacy is that we're a unified people.
Yo, I agree with that. But what Cleo
Are
is
white
saying,
people
no,
unified people?
No.
hell no.
Okay, I
Hell
can
no.
hear that.
Hold on.
I can care
Let's-
less
wait,
whether
wait.
they are.
I
or
know.
not.
Man,
no,
we
no,
got
no.
enough
No,
shit
no.
in our own plate. We got to worry about our plate. We got to finish ours.
But listen, now we playing with semantics.
Yeah.
Talking about what's unified and what's not unified. So let me just use a different term now.
Let's keep it to black people for a minute.
If we were insular,
Yeah.
meaning we go within ourselves and we protect our community and not let no outside sources in, whether it's unified or not. But you would have to be unified. But I'm just gonna switch the terminology and say that if we were an insular community, codified, meaning you got some codes, just like you got street code and you got code over here, this and that. You got some codes. It ain't happening.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't want to.
agree.
Yeah,
There's a lot
yeah.
of resources
Hold on, let me
spent
finish this idea.
Yeah.
to make sure we don't get
Idea.
that way. But it's still, back to what you're saying, still, depending on how codified and insular we choose to be and not get plucked off, it's doable. We can do it.
We can.
I agree.
We can.
I agree. We can do it, and this is the only problem that I have. Are we victims? Yes. Do we have to be victims? No.
Victims of what?
What you mean, victims of what?
Hey, give me some.
Of everything that's happening.
Give me
in our
some.
community.
All the facts. that's
Good,
happening
good. So
around.
good. Give me some.
Okay.
I wouldn't use the term.
I'm gonna tell you
Oh,
why.
you know what I'm doing.
Let me tell you why I use it as victims, because I've worked and lived in various different areas, and I can call the police. Case in point, I lived in Warner Robins, Georgia. My wife, who's my wife now, she was my fiance at the time. She called the police. She said the police was there in less than 5 minutes.
Mhm.
They roamed the backyards. They came to the door to reassure her that she was safe. Reassure her that she was safe. I can remember a time where our windows was busted in. Called the police, called 911. They're busting in the windows. They leave, they came back, they busting in the windows. My dad and uncle came home. He rushed us out of the house, over the in the car through the alley, dropped us off at the neighbor's house, jumped over the fence to come back and defend his property. They kicked over sofas, him and my uncle waiting to shoot it out with whoever kept busting his big window. The police showed up the next morning. They had other important calls that they had to tend to. They didn't show up. So police presence, one, makes us victims of our neighborhood. We're not victims of ourselves, but I am a victim of gangbangers and drug dealers. I'm a victim of that. What you mean, how?
What you want to do? You want us to get rid of the gangbangers?
No. You asked me how am I a victim?
Yeah, how you a victim?
How am I a victim? Because I got to live in that.
Okay.
Are you suggesting that white people and other people of different nationalities don't have gangs?
I tell you what.
Shit, they ain't gonna let it live in their community.
I tell you what.
Exactly, Noni.
But
They're not gonna
what
let it live in their community.
No.
Because
But you know how they get rid of it? How did they get rid of
They
it, Noni?
white people call 911.
Call the damn police.
Right. The
And well,
police
and
don't
I just
come
told you we
over
called
here.
the police and
They
they
don't
didn't come to the next morning.
So let me say
But
this.
who
So,
you-
wait,
The police is mainly white.
can I just say
Mhm.
this? can I say this? When we talk about drugs being brought in the community and we having a choice and all this, I don't know if you remember being in the 4th, 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade. I don't know nobody that said, I'm finna be a dope fiend or I'm finna smoke crack. That was not their, plight in life.
I hear you.
Right? So we all, I believe there's a lot of people drink alcohol, beer, right? Everything's like sneaking around, doing all that. Don't nobody say nothing about that, right? We don't grow up and say, I'm finna be on the streets, this or that, right? It's a circumstance that you cross over. I know about addiction. God knows I know about addiction.
Yeah.
However, when you bring something like that, like I said, I'll never forget the week it came. I never forget how it affected people in my life because it was something that was so foreign. I mean, we was in after hours having fun, and then this substance shows up.
Mm-hmm.
And this substance that you could try one time became something that it took me another 15 years to get the hell out of my life. And I always wanted to not do it because I had children in between this. Nobody wants their kids to look at them as a drug addict. Nobody wants to go to treatment over and over and over again. Nobody wants to be put down on that subhuman thing. But look at right now. White folks talking about this fentanyl. Yeah. The whole army shows up. We finna get free treatment and we getting it's an epidemic. Crack was around here for decades. Ain't nobody said free treatment. Ain't nobody said what to do about it. Nothing. They let us tear this community down and
throw you in jail for it.
Right. I mean, it was so crazy. Now everybody's going, oh, well, we're really sorry. And we made this stuff. I got clean. I came back here about 15, 16 years ago to take care of my mom, right? But I also came back because I felt it was my damn responsibility to clean up a neighborhood that I helped tear down.
Yeah. Okay, wait. Hold on, Noni. I got to pause you right there.
Responsibility.
When did you get clean?
I got clean in 1989.
1989. From
October 10th, 1989.
So I'm going to ask you, what have you done to clean up this neighborhood and be direct?
I can be very, very direct.
There you go.
Because after I realized that I was out there in Southeast and the light came on, what the hell are you doing out here?
Right.
Like, you belong over there because I needed to take my 4 boys and bring them back. Because this is a choice that black folks have in Oregon. I can let my kids come over here to Northeast Portland. I was worried, like the gangs and all this, right? When I first moved out there was 87 is when I bought a house out there with that little $10,000.
Right.
Remember I told you my kids said, ain't no black folks? Well, for the next 8-9 years out there, we've been chased home by skinheads. The neighbor across the street used to tell my kids, go back to Africa. We had horrible experiences out there.
Right.
But I could let them stay out there with nobody that looked like them, white teachers that were mentally abusing them, all of that, to get a decent education. Because coming over here, I was in school districts that, failing school districts because we work by the taxes are schools, right? So Southwest schools get all of the resources, and over here in Northeast, our kids were like failing miserable like they are today, right? Mm-hmm. So my kids, they grew up over there, so I got it together. I said, I got to come back home. I got to take care of my mom and my community. When I came back here, I have worked in several social service agencies around here, all of that. At 40 years old, I finally felt like I was getting the last kid out the house. I went back to school because I left when I was in the 7th grade. So I had a good 7th grade education. I went back to school at 40. I got an associate's, I got a bachelor's, and I got a master's in education. I started working at the community college, developing programs to help our black students succeed. Racism shows up different here because behind me, and I think people can see on our website, Beam Village, Beam stands for Black Educational Achievement Movement, because it's that word that's on my house, benign neglect. You could just look at us, and instead of saying, I ain't gonna call you a nigga, I ain't gonna educate you, because they know that education is tied to economics, right? And if we
Absolutely.
get educated, then we have the knowledge to do something. But when you have students spinning around at a community college for 3, 4, 5 years trying to get a 2-year degree, how ethical is that, right? So I started this event behind me. I always call myself the home of the Black Student Success Summit, because that's what we're missing here is representation in our Black communities. When do our kids get to see Black educators? They go to school, they see Black security guards, they, all of that. But where do they see dentists and doctors? And that's the difference between living in Atlanta or living, in Texas, California. Up here, you don't see that. They got one over there, one of us over there, and one of us over there. So we started this event. I love it. We had about 100 kids that year. It was successful. Greek organizations. It was amazing. I came back to work and I lost my job. And I was like, what'd I do? I was so confused. But there weren't white people involved. And that and I thought I was one of the good ones. So when we talk about all of this, like I'm telling you, and I don't want to act like I don't know sometimes. And you talk about those events. I've been doing this event for 6-7 years. We have hundreds of Black students from across the state of Oregon. We work with Black employee resource groups. Our young people, if you could listen to them talk about one day, the Black Student Success Summit. I had a young boy said, I didn't have a dad. I've never had a positive male role model in my life, but sitting in that room with other successful Black men made me feel like I could do anything. And if you can't tell me that is a statement that just, it permeates my soul every time I think about that.
No, it's something I commend you for everything you're doing. That's, you are
Everything
doing,
you're doing and what you plan on doing.
Yeah, you're doing amazing things, and I just want to say this real quick. I'm turning it over to Clint. I want to just frame my position on what I was saying. Sometimes I speak
Feel
from
like
a
you
position.
gotta
No,
explain yourself?
no, I don't. You know damn well I don't.
I'm just
So
saying.
no,
I ain't never seen
no,
this side of you.
no. No, I know that.
Seem a little sensitive
No.
to me.
Noni takes what I said very personally, and because it's attached to her struggle, and what I'm saying is attached to mine, and how I grow and how she grew.
Wait, hold on. I'm gonna cut you out. When you say it's attached to yours, what is your struggle?
My father was an addict, really, really bad. So it's the other side of the coin. Everything I saw. You have kids, so I don't know. I don't know how they outlook, but my outlook for that is, I cannot lean. I don't want to say, well, I didn't have a chance because this happened to me and I ain't had this, and so I couldn't ever see past this point. And that shit is a cop out, man. If we are as strong as the people that we claim to be, then this should draw us together. This shit shouldn't bring us apart. It should draw us together.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that I guess for me that's all I was really trying to say. Because I saw how she was looking and how you guys were looking, but I think and as men, man, I think we all kind of understand that the world is not going to give us any passes, man. Especially for Black men.
Yeah, 100%.
And Cleo, it don't even matter how the hell we grew up. Don't nobody care how we grew up. Don't nobody care about the pressure of our environment. They will send us to goddamn prison. They'll lock us away, and they won't give a damn about us. We'll show back up 20 years in the neighborhood like, where the hell you been?
You're 100% right.
Good trip.
So, man, I got a suggestion for you.
Go,
if I may.
All right.
He'll be saying it the nicest way, then cut your damn head off.
I know.
Maybe your piece about victim.
Okay.
You should reconsider how you break that down.
Okay.
Explain.
And eliminate the term victim.
Okay.
I hate it, man.
Kind of merge what both of you guys are saying, because I think that victim, using the term in the way that you're explaining it, it goes against what you really want to achieve.
You giving us an out. You giving us out.
Exactly.
So I agree with you, and that's my point.
We don't want no outs, man. We
Wait,
can't
wait, wait.
afford
So-
no
so
outs.
what's your point?
Well,
What's
what
your
you-
point?
hold on.
So,
Okay.
so my point is this. All right. I'm not saying we need an out from accountability. All right. That's not what I'm saying.
But victims are victimized.
No. But you got to turn around and look at it like this. There's two ways you can be a victim, in my opinion. You can be a victim from yourself, caused by you.
And
And
you're
you
not a
can-
victim. You chose that life.
And you can be a victim, because you can be a victim of your own ignorance. You can
Yeah,
be a victim
okay.
of your own
It's-
understanding. You can be a victim.
But don't you still play a
But
part in
it's
that?
Yeah.
it's strictly the terminology, not your explanation and what you mean by it. But
I understand that, and this is what I get beat up on. A lot of people say, "Well, you need to change the way you say it." Why?
okay, look, this is what I'm trying to get to. So the reason why I come at things the way that I come at things, right, is like Noni and I, and there's a bunch of other folks here in Portland. We trying to make change, right? By changing ourselves, making that change within our families and also in our communities and other families, right? So for me, talk isn't just talk. So I have to know where you're coming from. If you guys are just talking the talk, then I'd leave it alone.
Right.
Because you can say any damn thing you want. But if you're talking and using your platform to influence and encourage people, then we got to get the language right.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's
Okay.
the why.
Okay.
So you working at Intel, you successful, you this and that. There ain't nothing victim about you.
Right.
Or at least
But
you,
you're using the
yeah,
term-
or at least you can't.
And allowing those who feel like they're victimized, victims don't make moves. Seriously.
Right.
The same way we was talking about the lady.
They're stuck in
in
their
the documentary.
victimization.
Yeah.
Well, see, this is the thing. All right.
Remember we was talking about how the message don't come through by the way she said it. You
For
can't.
me, this
you-
ain't just
No,
yeah,
no,
but
you
you
know
can't.
what?
You can't make money on the shit and then
But
say
you
it
don't
hurt
have
you.
to be on the same.
Yeah.
We don't have to have the same principles. But I'm just saying it.
I guess he's trying to
I-
say it's hard. It's hard for us for you to say victim, and we look at Clinton Washington and associate Clinton Washington
see,
with victim. It's
but-
hard.
but see-
It's hard to swallow.
What it is the term. We need to come from places of strength. Not,
you know
not victimization. See, victim is a trap. It's a pit. And especially when people with a platform and working in a direction of success, define success how you want to define it. And people are listening to and saying, yeah, right, I'm a victim. So in general, humans, not just black people.
I think-
in general, humans
I
got
would-
a little lazy side to them.
But I think it's a direct contradiction to us saying we're black and we can come together and we can do this. If we victims, how?
No, but see that I think y'all don't understand what a victim is. Then,
All right, go ahead.
all right. So if a woman was raped, was she not a
Whoa.
rape victim?
Whoa.
No. I'm asking a question.
Okay, she
Let's-
she was, but I don't think that's the same context.
Okay.
Let me tell you what I'm saying.
Wait, but hold on. Let me make this point. So if I grew up in Compton and I grew up around gang violence and drugs, was I not a victim of that environment?
No,
That's not what I'm saying.
I don't think so.
Why not?
Stay your ass in the house. See.
Okay, and I did
Oh,
say
yeah,
that.
but watch this. See, you can't say you can say it, but I also get to say how I
I'm
would
talking
have
about
how somebody could have chosen not to be part of it.
But I can't stay in the house. I got to go to school.
Brother Clinton, all I'm saying is how the words affect and how
No,
we
no,
communicate.
and I
I'm not talking
understand
about the
that.
definition of the
No.
term victim.
But see, I understand that. But if I tell
Yeah,
you,
man, they're talking about two different things.
if I tell you I was a victim of gang violence, that doesn't take away the 2 bullets in my back.
Okay, I'll fall back on my argument because Cleo's trying to make a different point. He's talking about the way we
wording.
use it. Yeah, let me fall back on my argument because I don't want to mix it up.
Right.
I am going directly against that, and because I don't. Yeah, but let's talk about let's go to what Cleo said.
What
Cleo's saying
was
the way we present it
And-
is problematic.
right. But this is the thing that I find problematic mostly amongst us. We want to reword, right? We want to.
But I think that's an important rewording.
Well, you know what? It's just like a lot of times when we're on the Zoom.
Yeah.
Well, you should say that differently. Yeah, I understand the message can be perceived to be wrong, and I understand that it's sometimes it's the perception of the message.
But that's it. But we're talking about PC on the Zoom. This ain't PC.
No,
Brother
we're not
Clinton,
talking about
Brother
PC
Clinton.
on the Zoom.
Let me kind of jump to where I feel that you're going, even though you didn't complete it. So the purpose of rewording, only what I'm talking about, anytime you guys hear me talking about, is results. It's all results based. I'm the type of person, I only care about results.
Right.
So I care about the results. So I'm saying, what are the results you're trying to achieve?
Right.
Well, using these certain terms and words, you're not going to get those results. We were talking earlier about the dress codes and this, that, and the other. And it's like, yeah, that could be correct, but I'm not trying to say it like that, even if it's correct, because of the results I'm going to get from how it hits people's ears.
There's actually no way for us to do that the right way. There's really no way for us to do it
And that's my point.
in that
It is.
situation.
To get the results that you are looking for.
But see, that's the difference is you have to understand the person that you have developed and become. So you, as the person who you've developed and become, you're able to understand the difference in between wording. Whereas I might be in the same room with you and someone says the same thing that I'm saying, but would say it the way that you would say it, and I don't understand that process or how you came there.
I was gonna say,
But if DeAngelo says, hey, man, that's stupid what you just said, but you come along and say, hey, man, that wasn't a smart statement that you just made. But the impact that I may understand more, is when he called me stupid because now my eyebrows rose.
even that's problematic. I don't want that. Don't put that on me.
But you know what?
I get what you're saying, though.
Yeah, but you don't understand it more.
It's not okay.
But you can be more intellectual.
But I'm not talking about just intellectual.
No. But when I'm speaking of you, I'm just saying you could be more intellectual. But sometimes the way you talk to certain people, you can be so eloquent in the way you pronounce your words or the way you state your words that it go over the heads of some people.
Cleo, I don't want you to bite on this. I'm asking you not to bite on this.
What you talking about, man?
I'm asking you not to bite on that.
I
Because I don't want you to fight with Clint
no,
on this.
I know what he's saying.
I know you know. I don't want you to fight with him
But-
on this because this is not okay to fight about.
But listen.
I know you're not about to justify dumbing yourself down and simplifying yourself
No.
for anything.
No, I'm sticking to the point.
Okay, let's go, man.
The point is, what are the results? So I think he changed it a little bit, saying talking over people's heads.
Yeah.
Well, we having a certain conversation.
Right.
But if we was,
But
if
maybe-
we talking street stuff.
But maybe it's all about your audience.
Exactly.
And that's my
No,
point.
but here's the piece that I'm saying that we should reconsider, right? It's about your audience. So if you know your audience, then you won't be over their head, right?
But what if I don't know my audience?
Then you have to go by trial and error
Yeah.
and learn it.
So go ahead.
So it's about your audience, but it's also about what are you trying to achieve? What are the results you're looking for? Audience and results.
I definitely think we're all on the same side with what we want to do.
Of course we're not.
No, we are definitely on the same side.
No,
because
Now he's
no.
playing your role.
Yeah. You know, the funny thing about it is,
what happened here?
you know what, I feel like me and Cleo are aligned on this because I feel like we trying to say, man, what's the most effective way to do this? And I didn't want to. And
y'all only aligned because his people came from. Your people came from where originally? Was it Mississippi or was that no?
Yeah, he said Mississippi. His dad was from Mississippi.
My folks came from all around.
Yeah, I just don't. Just like
That's that Southern alignment.
just like I kind of think Noni thought I was dismissing her struggle and dismissing the flooding of drugs into the black community.
I don't think she thought you was dismissing. I think,
And I'm
one-
not.
one-
I'm just. I just think.
one of the biggest
something-
things is that it's like Cleo says. You get to a point of how you word things, and certain people can take it one way. And that's how she took it because she has an emotional involvement in the statement that you were making because, you're making a statement, but she's going to take it as it's directly referencing
her struggle.
Right.
Know your
Whereas
audience.
me sitting on the other side of the table, I didn't take it that way and didn't see it coming because I don't have that struggle. I've never had that struggle. But maybe I should have taken offense to it because I had, my dad had that struggle.
I could see it in her face.
But did you see how he restated it and got a different result?
I think
Because
she scared him and he
his
wanted to change
result-
the way he
when
went.
his
No,
result-
no, I said the same thing
was-
both times. I said the same thing both
originally-
times. But I said it, like Cleo said.
But originally he was going for a different result.
Right.
That's
Well-
why he restated it. He restated it to then change his results.
Yeah, I gave a disclaimer because I knew it was gonna.
See, he
I
knew
knew it was
where-
gonna
he
poke.
knew where he was going.
That's what he was looking
Yeah,
for.
I knew it was gonna poke.
I think when we have discussions, one of the things that I wanted this podcast to be is a discussion. I didn't want it to be a bunch of people, talking and pretending to be some type of expert in a topic.
I don't know shit.
We're just, for us, we're two dudes with opinions.
Yeah,
That's why it's called two. It's
2 cents.
It's 2
Just
cent the
my 2
podcast.
cents.
In that, when we do a podcast, we always find the people, in our opinion, are experts in a topic.
yeah.
Because we started off talking about gentrification, right?
I don't know what we're talking about now.
And-
We're just arguing with each other. It's like-
This ain't no argument.
No.
exactly. I'm sorry.
But we started off, on the road of talking about gentrification, how the black community was stolen away, or was it?
I still feel like we got we won't get.
No, we didn't even
yeah,
crack
yeah,
the
yeah.
surface
And I
on
was just
it.
like, we won't get to it today, but man,
So
I feel like we got a lot. I feel like just as this city has a lot to peel back on that topic for the simple fact that, like I said, and this is why I can't have a lot of conversations on this because, just like I said today, I believe the black community has a lot of accountability in that. I do.
you know what? I
do.
agree. But, months ago, we argued back and forth about it. I didn't agree with that. But
Why not?
the reason why I didn't agree with that, because I looked at it from a point of view of, God, I'm going to make you right, but of being a victim, right? That the black community was the victim of their circumstances, right? And shut up, I might be contradicting my earlier statement, but that's
I'm letting you
one of-
dig your own hole. I can just
Hey,
watch it. I can watch from over here.
you know me, I climb on these hills and I die on these hills. But my thing about it is this. I start to look at this thing as gentrification, and I start to listen to one of the documentaries that I listened to. And the one thing that kept reigning true in my mind, or kept being repeated constantly in the documentary, was there's no black people in the neighborhood anymore. There's no black people in the neighborhood anymore. The black people are gone. I moved away because I need to be around black people. All these white people walking around. And I start to listen to that, and I start to take a look at, like, all of that is true. But then I started to look at what the documentary was really doing. It wasn't shedding light on what gentrification was. What it truly did was shed light on you sold your community and your properties down the river, and you wanted to blame big corporations and white people for what happened. And I told you I'll die on this.
I
hill.
mean, while I feel like we have some accountability, I wouldn't have stated it like that.
Well, you know what? And the reason why I stated like that is because we saw one incident in the documentary where the person was welcoming gentrification.
Shit, yeah.
Bring it on. That's what she said.
That's what she said verbatim.
And she said that they were talking about urban development, redoing this, fixing the community, bringing new business to the communities, and they did that, and she celebrated it.
I want to tell you what the real problem is.
Wait,
Oh,
hold
go
on.
ahead, go ahead.
Hold on. She celebrated. Then in the end,
she's crying tears because there's no more black people. Now, the documentary was called Priced Out, and it's based on Portland and gentrification and the no rent control.
It's on Amazon Prime if y'all want to check it out.
Right. And there's a YouTube version that's free.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah, I found that because, you know, I was like, I didn't want to pay that $3.99 for no rental.
I did pay it.
You know, so, but, you know, I watched that documentary and I watched this young woman who had purchased a house for about $40,000 or $60,000. She had been in the house 20-something years, decided to sell it, and her reasoning for selling it. So let me back up. When she bought the house, she talked about how she was the worst person in the neighborhood because she would call the cops on all the gangbangers and drug dealers in the neighborhood. And it was so bad, she welcomed gentrification. She couldn't wait for these white corporations and these white businesses to come in and clean up her neighborhood.
That's what she said.
And that's just what they did. They cleaned up her neighborhood. They cleaned it so well that the presence of black people were very little. I think all of the people in the neighborhood eventually ended up selling their houses or whatever. And it's here in Portland, and she's talking about it.
I'm not going to say it's a bad thing for
No,
revitalization. And let me say this is.
Wait, hold on. Let me finish this point. But after she says, you know, fix all of this, then she starts to complain that there's no black people in her neighborhood. So she's going to move to Dallas, Texas, because there's the opportunity of finding them. I'm going to tell the whole thing because I want them to see the ridiculousness that I eventually saw. Because we were in total disagreements.
I told him to watch it. I told him to watch it because I didn't want to give out the ending. He finna give y'all the ending.
I'm telling you, it pissed me off so bad in the end that I'm sitting up here talking about, you know, it's like, wait a minute, you want the community fixed? You want this problem with crime and violence solved, and when it gets solved, now you're mad? But then you're mad and sell your property, and you make 4 times more than what you bought the property for? And you're complaining? You won. Gentrification was good for you.
Listen,
you won.
I don't like her suggesting that. I don't know.
So I'm gonna tell you like this. So and Cleo said it's not a win. Why you say that's not a win?
Because the numbers don't add up.
What you mean?
We looking at. I mean, you saying 4 times more from
20 years.
Yeah. Yeah, let's say 20 years ago. Which so it's like you in those situations you actually sell yourself out of opportunities.
I agree.
So it's not a win.
Well, but you know what?
You get what I'm saying? There's a profit, but it's not a win, and the profit's not that great.
Well, so this is why I defined it as a win. She bought the property for, I'm going to say, $60,000. 20 years later, she sold that property and she walked away after everybody's fees and everything else. She walked away with, I think, $238,000, right? Because this is what they said. They said she put her property on the market and she got 8 offers. The next thing that it said was within 8 hours. No, she got 10 offers within the 8 hours, something like that. You guys look at it and you know what I'm saying. But when she was the highest offer she had gotten for that property that she paid $60,000 for was $330,000.
And how much did she get?
She got about $238,000.
I just don't like the way when you say cleaning up the neighborhood, you equate cleaning up the neighborhood to having no black people there.
Well, you know what? What I meant to say was this. She wanted the neighborhood
but that's
so
what she
clean
said.
That she ended up with no black people.
Can I just say something real quick, man? I know we ain't going to have no time to talk about it. Go ahead.
That's approximately, I mean, look at it like this. So you said it was 20 years?
Yeah. She said she was
there.
So
that's approximately $12,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
She would have got that anyway. I mean, it ain't like, I get what you saying. It's still kind of.
She could have got more.
She could have got more, but if she had held out.
We really not really talking really real talk about property and and
Right.
gentrification
Oh,
and all of that, and what one does with their properties and this,
Right.
that, and the other.
Okay. Before we get too deep off into buying property, I don't.
We don't even have to go there.
Yeah,
right now.
I just feel like this. She had a problem. The initial gripe was that the community is not safe. Listen, this is Black folks' problem, and I ain't gonna even put it on Portland. I'm gonna say it's Portland for the sake of this argument, but I'm not gonna say it's just Portland. This is what happens when you think in a single mindset, when you are thinking only of yourself, because that's all that is.
Yeah, but
She-
there's multiple people who
But
think that way.
yeah, but by her thinking that and saying and keep saying I welcome that, did anybody say to themselves, how can we fix the community? How can we?
Yeah.
But you get what I'm saying? Before
Yeah,
we
but
say,
we did.
then if Black people could come together and fix the community, then there'd be no reason for revitalization. There'd be no reason for us looking for other investors. There'd be no reason driving our property value up from stuff coming in, because we would have been able to handle it ourselves.
How?
Well, is it going to
Well,
take?
you
It's
know
gonna,
what's coming, right?
what you mean?
The victim piece.
First of
You
all,
better-
but that's
Brother Clint
well,
about to bring in the
that-
victim piece.
I mean, how?
on you.
Clinton, you can invest in your own neighborhood.
How?
You can't invest in your own neighborhood.
How?
The
You
same
ain't gonna be
reason.
able to answer this one, brother.
First of all, no. First of all, no. You're not gonna make me believe that we're not finna play the white savior role.
No. What I'm saying is, this is the thing, and this is the importance of
The
me
same way
asking how.
other people
But-
invest in
but
their own
here's the
neighborhood.
thing: we
By
just got done talking about
buying in your
redlining.
own. By buying in your own.
Okay, so redlining don't exist.
First of all, redlining. First of all, redlining.
Predatory lending don't exist.
It does.
So how do I buy my neighborhood in order to be able to fix my neighborhood if I can't even get a loan in my neighborhood?
I already stay there.
Huh?
I already live here.
But that don't force the banks to have to give you a loan.
But I'm not trying to get out.
It doesn't have to do
So
anything.
what you're saying?
right
What
now,
you're saying is you can't reinvest because.
You know,
The-
have
be-
nothing to
be- because-
reinvest with.
how do you
Okay,
do
I
that?
get what you're saying. So you're bringing it down that we don't have the capital.
We don't have the
invest in it.
resources. So I can look at this individually, and we kind of touched on it earlier when you said about victimhood. Individually, I'm good. I'm okay. Right? I can take care of me and mine. But collectively, as the Black community collectively, does the Black community have the resources? Just because I have
We
it
do.
does not absolve.
We do have the resources.
Okay, how?
One of the greatest resources that we have, we haven't been able to really utilize it. And the greatest resource we have is ourselves.
Okay. But how?
But right now I'm not going to put together a plan on how to utilize that.
Right.
Right. But
Oh, we got to pay you for the
Well,
plan.
well, no, it's not that.
no.
It's
You know what we could do? People who have, quote unquote, gotten out of the hood can reinvest into the hood, because technically you're not in that situation anymore.
that's the start of a
yeah,
plan.
yeah. Okay, so yeah, and I'm,
And
hey
there-
man,
there
we
could
we
be
yeah,
a-
we
there
we
could be
we
a
just
number
talking.
of plans.
Yeah, and we're just talking. But think about it, Clinton.
Let me ask you this. Okay. We can do that. Let's say I take some money, I reinvest.
Hold on. Wait. First of all, watch this. That's probably a terrible idea after we look at the business plan, because I want to know. Because you're right. If you call me right now, like, you know what, DeAngelo, I like what you was talking on the podcast. Let's go over there and drop some money in there. I'm like, hold on. No. What's the property value?
And see, this is the
over
thing.
there. Shit, they got a new seasons. They got a spa over there. But hey, hey Clint, why we in this neighborhood? This is terrible.
Terrible idea.
This is a terrible idea. Hell no. I'd rather take this shit to Vegas. Let's go.
But you know what? And that's the thing about it is you can get intellectuals together, right? And you know, I'm not going to say I'm in that group. But it's just like Ice Cube said during the
Playing for Black America.
yeah. So he said he got some people together. They came up with a plan.
Yeah.
The problem is, this is the problem. I guarantee you the four of us can come up with a plan to fix the Black community. I guarantee you.
We're going to need the Black community on board.
No.
No.
That's one thing. You're going to need the black community on board because so a friend of mine, she wants to buy property in Rochester, New York that is already pre-occupied rental property. And she wants to buy it in Rochester, New York because that's where she's from. She watched her mother raise 3 young girls by herself. And it's kind of like, giving back to the ideal of her mom and her mom survived in Rochester. Wrong place to invest? Yes. But she has a plan. And typically, she come out, hey, I found this stock. Look into it. You invested in it. She normally makes some good choices in that. I'm investing in that stock, right? But that one over there, I'm like, no, I don't want to go with that. Why? Because it's more emotional. We differ on the plan, right? We can have 4 people right here, and we all agree on a plan. Now we got to get everybody out here to agree. Then we got to get everybody out here to comply. One of the things you will notice about life is if you provide the resources for people that they don't have to work for, they'll take advantage of it.
Right.
They will take advantage of it. And they'll take advantage of you and the kindness of your heart and everything else because you were willing to give them something that they didn't have to work for. But if you can create a plan and the plan forces people to work for it, like HUD houses, and I don't know if they did it out here, but HUD houses in Compton, it's like, this house is yours, but you got to put in this amount of hours working to help build this house, cleaning up around it, whatever. And after those hours are done, that's your down payment. This is your house, and you can start making payments on it.
Can I challenge you on one thing?
Go ahead.
Like, it's funny that black folks always talk about, and me and Cleo talk about this unity thing, right? We got to get everybody on board. We got to get everybody on our plan. No, you don't. We for a start. If you build it, they will come. And where there may only be 50 of us in this year, I guarantee you when people start seeing it, next year it's going to be 200. And then the next year you're going to get some other folks. Because people don't believe all the time, like right away. They be like, nah, I ain't doing that. You know how people come and be wanting you to join something, and you be like,
right,
no, that's all right. Like, I'm wait, because you want to see if they're going to do it, and you want to see if they're going to succeed at it, right?
Right.
I guarantee if we stop talking about bringing everybody together, because that's not, all white folks don't get along. Anybody, no race of people are monolithic. We just got to start with the people who have the passion, the commitment, and I think others will join. What, Cleo?
We keep saying that all these people don't get along and all this. No, I just want to make this clear because to me this is almost on the line. Like I'm looking at point and intention, right? This is almost on the lines of what I'm saying about victimization. As a people, we tend to throw out all these blanket statements and just like it kind of disintegrates any type of meaning or steps.
Looks like we're building our own wall
underneath it.
Yeah,
so when we say everybody don't get along, but it's you don't have to get along to cooperate, to have co-ops.
Disagree and commit.
But you got to start with something.
You gotta have a plan and move forward.
Right.
All white people don't get along, but they agree to exploit and oppress the whole damn world.
You're damn right.
And
they are all locked in step with that.
Explicit So they don't have to get along to do that. The Democrats and the Republicans can disagree, but they're going to be taxing and messing with us and doing these things to our communities. So let's not get this twisted about, we got to all get along. We got to, let's not get along, but be able to mobilize and make moves within those disagreements.
Right. That would be great. If you're right. We all got to get along.
But
let's just not get in each other's way.
But we got to do it. See, because we can sit up here on this podcast, but I'm going to tell you right now, when I built that BSS and I lost my job, I cried for months. And my friend, had it not been for him, he said, Noni, if you don't get up out this bed and do it, ain't nobody going to do it because don't nobody feel responsible. So we can sit around here and talk all we want.
Yeah.
I heard you talk about land. I'm going to say this. I had somebody call me from the People's Institute. I just did a training, Undoing Racism training, best training I've been to in the last 15 years. And they do something called a freedom school with our kids. So as I'm building these learning hubs that now Beam is into, where me and Cleo, community-based learning hubs, because we have all we need in our community. It's just about, like, I'm tired of waiting on people to give me a building or give me space. I got space back here. I own this lot, right? So we're gonna start the demo this summer.
DeAngelo
right?
be here to help.
Yeah, look, I'm gonna tell you, it's gonna be live. We
You
got
need me,
young
call me. I'll
folks.
come-
We
I'll come
got
through.
architects on board. We got young people on board. We're looking for a black builder right now, and this just will be one of the huts. Cleo's doing a hut. We have other people, but if we
I'll
just
sponsor a hut.
start,
I don't like that manual labor
that's
stuff.
all
man.
right.
Well, good, because I don't like financial shit, so
Right,
I
there
would
you
lend
go.
my back.
There you go. This
I lift some beams and shit.
sister
over.
called me. She's executive director of this People's Institute. She said they got 90 acres down in Picayune, Mississippi. It was strange because my husband came from Picayune. I was like, whoa, somebody else. So they got 90
I swore I would never
acres.
go back.
Really? And she said they're using just a small portion of it for livestock. But they want to build. They want to be in community. They want to do agriculture. They want to do the things that we're doing right here at the Black Food Sovereignty, which is another group of folks that we're working with, right, in the Equitable Giving Circle, who are out here on Sophie's Island and growing things and teaching our young people. Why can't we start it here and then have a hub down in Mississippi?
I ran
hear you.
into the Giving Circle. I ran into some people from there at the in DC at the march. They was all the way out there. They had a lot of people from out here out there.
Yes, that's it. We got everything we need. It's just about coming to a table, right? And y'all, we talk about black folks don't come together. It's funny, like that BSS. I would get people, out of the 6 years I did it, I never went to a workshop. I would cry all that Saturday, right? Because I just couldn't believe the overwhelming love. Right. Like, because people want to help our young people, right? They don't know how. They don't know where. They're still like, where are the black people? How are we going to help the kids? Just show up. Because I believe that thing took off, not because I'm wonderful, not because I really knew what I was doing. The need is there. Right now, you guys, today, the need is here. Our community is hurting in so many different ways. And if we build it, instead of talking about it, instead of looking, Cleo's taught me, stop saying what they won't let us do. Stop it. Noni, like, we're going to say you're going to do it, and we're going to figure it out. I went, okay. Right? So I just kind of lead, like, yeah, okay, I'll do it. Yeah. So we're going to build our learning hub. And we're going to have we going to have y'all
Man,
folks
this is
here.
this is a dope conversation, man.
We can go on with this forever.
Right.
You know, so we were supposed to start this podcast
2 o'clock.
6 hours ago. No, 4 hours ago.
We supposed to start at 2:30.
No, we
No,
were supposed to set up
3:30.
at, we set up at 2:30 to talk to a future podcaster, and then we were supposed to start about 4. Then we ate.
Wait on Cleo.
We had about 9 different long conversations before we started a podcast that probably should have been on the podcast.
Right. Which
then-
means that we're not done. That's
No,
all that means.
We're not done. It has really been enjoyable to be here and discuss.
We need a talking point next time we all get together.
We did. It was gentrification.
Man, we talked about it.
We didn't cover it.
We didn't dig
No,
in.
I don't think we touched on gentrification as we could have, but I think what it does is give listeners the opportunity to go in and pick the bits and pieces that we did talk about and kind of maybe piece a picture together, because my personal perspective of gentrification changed when I watched the documentary. But at the same time, when I didn't watch that, which is, my argument of documentaries are, they can be some of the most bogus things that you watch. Reason being is because the person who creates a documentary, evidently they know the science of filmmaking. And they understand the elements to put into that documentary to get you to sway to their opinion. Right?
Because now, with that documentary that I looked at, and I've now come to the conclusion that that documentary wasn't anything that was really shedding a light on gentrification. What it was doing, in my opinion, now is shedding a light, and Cleo's he's gonna like this. It was shedding a light on black victimhood, because there was a lot of talking.
No such thing.
There was a lot of talking discussion.
There is, brother.
You know, there was a lot of talking discussion of being the victim of something. And what the conclusion that I came to from this documentary in the end is that the producer of the documentary kept giving you elements to show that this person was just being a victim.
Self-inflicted then.
Right. He was showing you
Doesn't
that.
matter.
Right?
Yeah.
And he was showing you where you hear the person's story, and their last part of their statement is how they was a victim of, and then he gives you that piece that you have to read and go, wait a minute, were they really a victim? Because now he's showing you this monetary gain that the person has gotten.
Man, you're making me hate that word. You are really making me hate that word. Like, I'm never using it again.
Victim?
Okay.
Victimhood?
It's in the context that he's using it.
But it's the truth. That's what he was doing. And the thing about it is, when you have people, and you've seen it before, they want to expose the fact that you think you're a victim. And they want to expose that fact that you think you're a victim
They
when you're
prey
really
on it.
not, when you're really not a victim, by showing all the gains or your personal gains. You know, I argue with conservatives. I have so many conservative friends. It's like I shouldn't even be in the black community. I got so many conservative friends, right?
When you
But hold on. But, you know, I argue with these people, and one of the things that they like to do is, oh, well, you work here, you're making that, you're doing this.
You made it?
Right.
We had Obama.
But it's like the whole
Exactly.
black community gets dismissed
Mm-hmm.
because I've made small gains in my life.
Right.
Go ahead, Cleo.
But I get where you're coming from. You could utilize that. You just have to, like I'm saying, change the language. So
Cleo gonna be
let's-
my new PR
why
rep.
make
Let's-
why
let's-
make it depend? When you say you're a victim, do you know that you subconsciously make yourself dependent? You
Yes,
say and
you do.
and you make yourself in a light to where I am
Generally-
dependent upon you,
but brother-
Savior.
Generally speaking, because not everyone, which is a few people who use that term are actually making it. They're just talking about how they were victimized, and not that they're victims.
I go with victimized. I go with
Right?
victimized. I
So
don't want to
this
go with
is what
victim.
So this is what I'm trying to talk with Brother Clint about, is because he's an outlier he's an outlier in a group of people who use that term. You get what I'm saying?
Clint is not a good messenger for the
he's-
victims.
he's not.
I'm being honest with
And
you.
so what I'm proposing is, don't use the term victim, but you can use the term victimizer.
I agree.
So talk about a victimizer, but never be a victim. Come from a place of strength, and then people latch onto that strength and be like, "Yeah, you're right.
We can all be
I'ma do it.
victimized. We
I'ma
can all
do
be
it."
victimized. We can all be taken advantage of. We can
And
all be hurt.
we can
Yeah.
all recognize a victimizer, just like
Yes.
what you were talking about. You guys were earlier talking about, fraudulent behavior and unethical behavior.
Yeah.
Right.
Those are the
those are the
victimizers?
victimizers.
Well, a
So
victim, a
play with those
victimizer. What
terms.
he's saying is, these things are happening to us.
Aren't they
It is
predators?
very
They're
real.
predators.
Yeah, it is very real.
Right.
What is happening to us?
Mm-hmm.
That by victimizers, predators, however you decide to do it. However, being a victim, that is a state that you must claim for yourself.
Right,
Right.
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 It lowers your statehood.
It does.
Right.
So
Right.
like, for example, I think a perfect example of a mental victim. You guys know the whole analogy about the elephant.
Yeah.
Right. Then you put a little string on him. I ain't seen, maybe except yourself, I ain't seen hardly any victims who don't feel that little tug on the string. They can't snap a victim. Most victims cannot snap that string.
Right.
I don't like the word victim because it already puts you at a lower
Right,
station.
It's
You
a
like
mentality.
if me and you are talking, Noni, and you present yourself as a victim, you already let me know that you are not on my level. If I say I'm not a victim, and you say you are a victim, you are already. I am by default. I have to save you now.
It kind of
Noni.
runs your life.
Yeah, I gotta save you now because you've already let me know,
You're
DeAngelo,
defining
I'm
yourself
a
by that.
victim. I can't. I need. Yes.
I disagree with you guys.
Okay, listen.
No,
let me
you don't
you the
have a-
cricket.
look,
let me say this, and then because
got
I
the
know
crickets going.
Clint will try to
You're just trying to
Clint-
have some fun now.
Clint will try to end his podcast. I mean, I just want to say.
Why is he taking
Even-
your role, man? It's too boring for him now.
Even though I'll
needs
say
some
we probably
excitement.
we didn't dig in on gentrification, I think it's great because we introduced ourselves and our listeners to Cleo and Noni, and that part is important. I'm glad that we introduced. I think we should see what they're doing.
New
Okay.
people.
Just so
I like you. I like how you purposely try to step on my ending.
no, I didn't know what you was gonna. No, I know Clint. Clint will start playing this goddamn music. Podcast will be over, and everybody be like, "Hold on, wait, I was gonna give my telephone number."
You know, and you know what? But the fact that at the beginning of the podcast I said we're going to get your website and everything at the end.
No, that was on the first one that we
Oh,
didn't
that was the
record.
one that we
Yeah,
but,
yeah,
but-
you try-
but I still
yeah.
said it though.
You tried to run me over, and she came through with the damn truck. You didn't even see her coming around the corner.
All right, Noni. Tell
All right,
us everything that you got going on.
Anybody can find us. We do several events. Now I just figured out I'm going to do our virtual Black Student Success April the 10th. And even if we reach out and touch 200, I'm hoping for 3 or 4, but if we can get 200 students on here to talk to college recruiters, learn about internships that are available. We talk about things that they ain't telling our kids in school. Right. So they can find me at Beam Village. That's our organization. So that's Beam Village, all one word, BEAM, like a beam of light, Village, VILLAGE.org. And I'm Noni at Beam Village. There's an info at Beam Village. You can look around on our not updated website. But we're going to get there, right? And we're going to put on this event, and you'll learn more about our learning hubs that are coming up real soon and how to get involved. I know we have everything in our community to make this happen. I know it. We're going to have 10
What you got
hubs.
for us, Cleo?
I got Cleo Davis at hotmail.com.
Yeah.
You're still using Hotmail.
I know, huh?
Goodness gracious.
Hit Cleo up
They
if you
have
wanna.
it.
Hit Cleo up if you wanna
Yeah.
have a
He's still
conversation.
using Hotmail.
Cleo don't argue. He only have
and-
conversations.
And we got rebuildingcornerstones.org and blackwilliamsproject.com.
And you can find those links on my website on beamvillage.org.
So we're gonna make sure we get all of this information from you. So the house. Are we able to go by and see the house?
Yeah.
Okay, we can't do it tonight. My wife is cooking me dinner, and she done text me a couple of times. I'm supposed to be getting a birthday dinner.
Oh,
man.
Yeah.
Okay.
What y'all have?
Nothing.
Oh, wait, no, never mind.
Nothing. But I want to say, once people go and check out the one documentary that you did, and they get the context, and then we're gonna, I want them to go by and see winning.
mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I want them to see what winning is. Seeing what a successful fight can do. All right. And so, maybe we'll come back and, once, people look into it and they start to respond, we can, just, post the address. Come, just drive by. We don't want you knocking on doors, We don't want you, walking inside.
Yeah, y'all listen. Don't come by this lady house, man. I'm telling you.
Look, I'm going to tell you, look, I got to kill a dog.
Yeah.
Definitely go by and take a picture, man. Read some of the good things out there because this is just free knowledge, man. It's just gems.
And and that's going to turn into conversations from the heart this summer. People want to know.
Absolutely.
There's so many people that want to know. I'm going to tell y'all, I've talked to more white folks in the last I'd say, 6 months? I said I was going to quit my job. I was going to sit outside in my lawn chair and just have conversations, right? Donate.
How long has the house been purple?
And started making money.
Oh, my mom, I painted out. It hasn't been this purple, but it's been purple probably for the last, I think when she turned 75, she wanted the purple house. And I had it painted purple. My brothers drove by here and said, what you let mama paint that house purple for? I was like, it's 75. You can do what the hell you want to do.
Damn right you can.
Right? Like, I'm going to let her do whatever.
Yeah.
And so we call it the purple NASCAR house.
Well, Noni and Cleo, we appreciate you.
Yeah.
And DeAngelo, I appreciate you following me over here, even though I ain't asked you to. I'm looking for a new host, but nobody wants to hang out with me.
I know it's your
only got one
birthday,
friend.
but you are gonna help me take this shit down. Don't even play. I know you're gonna be trying to get out of here. Oh man.
All right, I tried. Ladies and gentlemen, you have witnessed another 2 Cent the podcast with me, Uncle Clint. We was here with Cleo and Noni, and the other guy over here sitting on the left. You guys know him, Mr. Single out here in the streets.
Forever.
Want to thank you
I'm
for
sorry, not
listening to
forever.
another
Not
Ever,
forever.
ever?
No, I'm looking
2
for my
Cent
wife.
the podcast.
Thanks, brothers. Thanks.
Thank
Oh,
you
no
so
problem.
much, you guys. It's been real fun.
This has been 2 Cents, the podcast, hosted by Clinton Washington, with co-host DeAngelo Gillespie, brought to you by Underway Entertainment and Pound the Pavement Productions. Thanks for listening.